So when you've got your Avicii tracks downloaded, they should be on the desktop like this. Let's open up and have a look at it. If you haven't seen Logic before, when it opens up it can look a bit confusing. There's a huge amount of stuff going on, but actually it breaks down into little windows and it's pretty simple. So up in the top here, these are the tracks of our music, and these are the sort of control tracks for it. So this is the sweeping lead track. Here is the volume for the sweeping lead, and if I was to double click on it, down the bottom here, there you go, this is all the notes that are going on inside the sweeping lead. If I was to click on the lead 2 instead, down the bottom here, actually we look at the identical, that's a bad one to choose. Let's try a different one. Let's try the piano. And drag that. So here is the piano parts. Now, so this note at the bottom, you can grab it by the grey line, you can move it up and down, you can, if you want, simply get rid of it, or you can double click and it will pop back into view again like that. So we've got our tracks, we've got our track info, and then the notes inside it here. You've got your play controls at the top here. This is the sort of track information. This is where we make lots of fun things happening. We'll come to that later. And this is your instrument library where you can choose the different sounds. And again, we'll play with this in a very short while. The only other things that are really useful for you to know is your solo and your mute buttons. So when I press the S, you can see here, let's just get rid of this for a tick. When I press the S, you can see this track goes orange, all the rest go grey, because that means you can't hear them. If I go the other way, the mute will mean that I can hear the orange ones, but not the grey ones. Finally, if you make sure this is your play bar, and the music will start from wherever that is. So, let's stick at the beginning, press play and have a very quick listen. Okay, cool. So once you've had a little play, obviously you should recognise the track. All the main parts are there, but it's definitely not as exciting as it can be. And obviously the main thing it's missing right now is drums. So let's stick some of those in. If you go to the little plus here and click on that, that will then bring up our new track box, and we can then create a software instrument. So literally go to create, stick one in, and that will make one down the bottom here. Now, in the instrument library, if you scroll right back to the beginning, we've got a choice of drum kit and electronic drum kit. This is the dance track, we want an electronic drum kit. So click on that one and then click into the drum machine. There are loads here, you can change them later if you like, but I know that the Italo Disco works really well. So let's start off with that one. And down the bottom here it's created by Italo Disco, and it's actually put all the different drum sounds into it as what we call a stack. So if I click on the little arrow here, and then scroll down, here are all the other instruments, and they're basically hiding inside underneath the master controls here. So we've got our kick, snare, hi-hat, percussion, and synth bass. And this now on the keyboard should give you those sounds. So on the keyboard in front of you, the very left-hand side will give you the kick sounds upwards. On the right-hand end, you get synth sounds. Okay. The first thing we want to do is stick in a kick drum. Now the kick should be the very left-hand note, the C at the very, very end of the keyboard. If I press that, you should get some nice kick sounds. And what we want is a kick on every single beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. To do that, I can stick on my metronome. I can literally hit record and I can just play it in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. If you're struggling to hear the beats, because that can be a bit difficult, the synths over the top, if I just delete that for a second, you can actually just solo the drum parts and just hear the drums and the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fabulous. Now I've got that. If I double click in the green box and bring up the editor, you can see it's a bit cramped down here, so I'm going to bring this up a bit bigger. And the other thing I can do, this is really handy, is I can make this bigger so I can see all the lines nice and neatly. Scroll across. There we go. Here is my first bar, and here are the notes inside. So you can see at the moment they're kind of overlapping the lines. Inside the bar I've got beat 1, beat 2, beat 3 and beat 4, and ideally these should be nice and neatly stuck to the lines, which they're not. So I'm going to draw a nice box around them, and I'm going to use a special trick called quantize. Over here, if by clicking on the Q, it will make them stick to the lines. And this number helps me choose which lines it chooses to. So if I was to choose the 4 here, it would stick to 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I stick to 1, literally the first one, if it was the 64th, it would break this down to 64 little bits and stick it next to those. Actually, 4 for this would be perfect. There you go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang, excellent. And when I play that now, you can hear that is spot on. All right. Now, if you prefer not to play it in because that's not your style, you're not very confident with the keyboard, the alternative thing you can do is actually just draw it in from scratch. So, if I was to get rid of this, there you go, how to draw it in. You will see up here you've got a mouse and you've got a pencil selected. That means if I press the command button, which is the CMD on the space next to the space bar on the keyboard, the pointer becomes a pencil. Clicking in this bar will create a lovely bar of green track, and then clicking on that will bring up the editor. Drag this up, and you can see down here C1 is the kick. And again, if I press C1 on the keyboard, you can see really helpfully there's a little black dot appears so I can see it. And I want to put in a kick on the first of each 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Right? So to press the command button again, gives me my pencil. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. It doesn't actually matter. These are a bit long. Logic remembers the last note that you drew. So what it can do, if you want them shorter, is there you go. Drag it, grab the end, get a nice little bracket, drag it back so it's perfectly 1 square long, and then it remembers that for the other times. And if I play that now, it should sound exactly the same as it did before. There you go. Perfect.